Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Suzanne, and today I'm very excited because we have a new feature or we have a new thing for Uniswap. Uniswap V3 was launched, and it's very exciting for all of us, especially for people who are liquidity providers. So we are going to go through that, but before then, we are going to see how our pools are doing. So, and then I'm going to introduce the features that were introduced by the V3 and how we benefit from that. And for those people who are asking if they should migrate from V2 to V3, this is the opportunity to decide whether you will need to migrate from V2 to V3. And something that I want to mention is that you really don't have to migrate to V3 because V2 will also be functional. So we will see how that will go. But before then, I'm going to share so that we can see how our pools are doing. So we are going to start with pool number one. Our pool number one is you just go to uniswap.org and then you click on pools because this has not changed much. It is the same thing that we were going through before this, and you can see here you're just going to click on use Uniswap. When you click on use Uniswap, it's going to open a Uniswap interface. This is a bit different from what we have been seeing, but I'll show you how to navigate around it so that you can get into your liquidity pools. So when you get to Uniswap interface, we are going to give this a few seconds so that it can load. You can see now we have swap, we have pool, we have vote, and we have charts in these. So if you want to swap, the process is the same. It has not changed much. But when you click on pool, you can see here a lot have changed. You can see Uniswap V3 is here. Check out our V3 LP walkthrough and migrate guides. So if you want to migrate from V2 to V3, but I know I'll cover that in a later date, but not today, you can go through these guidelines and you can see how you can migrate your tokens or your liquidity from V2 to V3. So you can also explore popular pools on Uniswap Analytics. This is for people who want to supply other pools. Then your V3 liquidity position will appear here. So if you migrate your liquidity pools from V2 to V3, your liquidity will appear here. But now, and you can see here, we have a button to migrate V2 liquidity. This is what you click on when you want to migrate. But for us, because we don't intend to migrate today, actually what I want to go through here is we see how our pools are doing. So we are going to click on look for your V2 liquidity. So I'm going to click on that, and my wallet is already connected. So I'm just going to wait for it to load. This is what we have had since we created our liquidity pool. So you make sure for you to interact even with the V3, you make sure that your wallet is connected. So what you're going to do here, I'm going to change this because I think we are using liquidity pool number 2, but we want to see liquidity pool number 1 first. So I'm going to click on this icon here and change this in MetaMask wallet because we want to see how our pool number 1 is doing. So I'm just going to change this to pool number 1. And here, then we are going to go to analytics so that we can see the progress of this pool. So I'm going to click on account analytics and accrued fees. So in this, we are going to see what we'll focus on today is just what we started with and what is the worth of the pool today. So when we started with $989, and today the pool is worth $2,599, and we have $31.15 as fees. And so that is how the pool number 1 is doing. So far the worth of the pool is $2,599. So we are going to proceed to pool number 2. pool number 2, what you just need to do is to change these to pool number 2 because they're in the same wallet. So I'm going to go ahead and click here to view the analytics for pool number 2. And this will take us directly to pool number 2 analytics. We see, and what we focus on is basically what we started with and what we have right now to see the growth of the liquidity pool. And you can see here, we started with $2,075 in this pool, and at this particular time we have $9,125, and the fees earned in dollars is $21.61. So basically, the reason why this is different is it also considers the prices of UBN and ETH. That is why if the price of UBN goes up and the price of ETH goes up, this is the reason why these changes this much. So whatever we put in, or the amount that we had put in when we were starting this liquidity pool, plus the earned fees and also the changes in price, that is what makes it $9,125. So that is how you get that figure. Then on the other side, we have liquidity pool number 3. I'm not going to share that because it is on my phone, and we are going, I just noted, because what we are interested in at this particular time is the amount that we put in and also the amount that is currently in that pool. So the amount we started with in pool number 3 was $4,621. That is what we put in pool number 3. And currently the value of pool number 3 is $7,674. So that is the growth of that pool number 3. The other thing that I am going to do is now we proceed to V3, because that is the main thing that I wanted us to cover today. And for the V3, I'm going to share a document that was written by the Uniswap guys. When they were launching this, they did, and they wrote a paper to introduce V3 to us, and we are going to go through that paper, and then you're going to find your own time to go through it so that you can understand, you can fully understand this concept, because to say the truth, it's a little bit complex than the V2. So if you want really to migrate your coins, your LP tokens or your liquidity pools to V3, you need to get this concept because it's a little bit different, but in a good way. So what I'm going to do, this document is, let me show you where you get this document. So when you log into uniswap.org here, this is the first page that you get. When you log in, you're going to go to click on this icon here, the Uniswap version 3.0. When you click on it, you can see there is a document that pops up here below it. So what I want us to concentrate on is this blog post. So I'm going to click on blog post, and this is going to redirect us to a document that I want us to focus on. So this document explains that it's basically an introduction to Uniswap V3, and I'm going to go through it so that I can explain some concepts to you, and these are the main concepts that were introduced in V3. So V3 was launched on let us see that on May 5th, that is May 5th this year. So that was like 3 days ago. That is when it was launched. And with V3, I'm going to read, because we have like 5 concepts that I want us to go through that affect us as liquidity providers and also as people who intend to provide liquidity in Uniswap V3. So we have what they call concentrated liquidity, and concentrated liquidity gives LP, that is liquidity providers, control over what price ranges their capital is allocated to. What this means is, when we were providing liquidity in V2, what we were doing, the price range was between 0 and infinity. And this distribution of the price, or this the price that, if, for example, we provided the liquidity in V2, we provided 2 ETH or 1 ETH and 3 million UBNs. It means that the price range was between 0 and infinity. But what this concentrated liquidity does, you are given a chance to specify which price range you are going to provide liquidity for. For example, if today I wanted to say I want to provide liquidity for UBN when it's $1 and between $1 and $2, that is the liquidity. So anyone who wants to buy UBN at that price range, they are going to swap those UBN from my liquidity pool, and I am going to earn fees from that swap or from that buy of UBN. So also it means that if a transaction happens beyond or above or below my range, it means that I am not going to get the fees. Okay, so you only get the fees, the transaction fees, when you provide liquidity at the range that the transaction happened. So this brings what they also call capital efficiency. When you're providing liquidity when the price is between 0 to infinity, your capital is not efficient. But when you're providing liquidity in a specific range of prices, your share of the liquidity pool increases. So you're going to earn more fees as compared to when the price range is between 0 and infinity. So basically the concentrated liquidity was brought about to make sure that your capital is efficient. Whatever you're putting in the liquidity pools or whatever you're providing is gaining as much as possible. So what you need to do is we have a way of determining the price. You look at the price of UBN today, or the market price of UBN, and give it a range. Maybe you can say this is, I'm just taking getting examples. Maybe you can say that you are providing the price of UBN today is 0.30 and $3, and you're providing liquidity between maybe plus 25% and minus 25%. You're providing liquidity at that range. So you provide liquidity at that range, and if the prices, you get fees when a transaction happens between that range. When the market moves and the prices change, you will have to change your range to fit the current price. And so that is what we'll be doing. We will cover these in more details as we move forward. And the other thing that was introduced in these in V3 is what they call multiple fee tiers. So multiple fee tiers is where we have different percentage of interest for different coins. For example, if you're providing liquidity for a very low risk coin, you get a low percentage of the fees, of the transaction fees, or the fees, that the interest that you earn from the coins. So for example, if you are providing liquidity for stable coins such as maybe USDT and I, you get a percentage. Let me get at that where this is written. They have written this somewhere here. The fees, just give me a minute so that we can see how those fees work. Okay, it's somewhere below here, but for the meantime, before I get it, what this means that it means that for people providing liquidity for a coin like UBN ETH, because that is UBN ETH is not UBN, especially UBN, because it's a coin that it's not known as ETH. It means that people are really risking to get into such a coin. So you're given more incentive to invest in such coins or to provide liquidity for such coins. So for UBN, instead of what you are getting 0.3, we will be getting 1% of the liquidity of the transaction fees that are being charged. So for every transaction, the liquidity provider will now be getting 1% of the fees instead of 0.3% that was in the V2. So this means that this is a good for us, because now it means that we are getting more fees. And the whole idea of us providing liquidity in the first place was for us to earn that passive income. And now with V3, this is very good for us because it means that we will be getting more fees. I'm trying to look for that article where it's saying where where it is talking about the fees, but I can't seem to get it. But it's okay, if we come across it, we are going to go through it again. So the other thing that was introduced with V3 is what we call NFTs. Initially, when we provided liquidity, we were receiving LP tokens. But in this case now, with V3, you don't receive, okay, you receive liquidity pool tokens, the Uniswap liquidity pool tokens, but they are not fungible. They are not, all the LP tokens are not the same, because now, because they have introduced the price ranges, these LP tokens are not the same for everyone. If today I provided liquidity in a price range of $1 to $2, and another person provided liquidity between $3 and $4, those liquidity pool tokens are not the same. They are different because they represent something different. It's not the same way we had the LP tokens. So that is also something else that have changed. But with such thing, it's a good thing because we know that people out there will find ways on how we can use the NFTs. We call them non-fungible tokens. They can find ways of using the NFT, and we are going to wait on that. The other thing that was also introduced was the fees. The fees. I remember when we started doing Uniswap, I mentioned that when V3 will, when they introduced V3, the fees will reduce, but it did not reduce as we expected, because they were also expecting that Ethereum was releasing another layer, and this layer is basically to reduce the transaction fees in Ethereum network. So they are also waiting on that so that they can integrate the V3 with that layer 3 in Ethereum. So for the fees, they have reduced slightly, but not much. Maybe it's something that even if you notice, it's not that much, so it did not affect the prices, the gas price or the transaction fees in Uniswap. But that will come maybe July this year. That is when the second layer will be introduced, or it will be launched for Ethereum. And basically this is just to reduce the transaction fees in Ethereum network. So that is very good for us, and we are going to wait. We are also going to continue doing V3 or working with V3 as we wait the prices to reduce. So then we have something else, and I think this is the final thing that I'll talk about. It's called limit orders. The limit orders are basically, you can provide a single token in these liquidity pools. For example, if you have Ubricoin today and you don't have ETH, there is a way of providing liquidity using what you have, but it's not as effective as having two coins, because you have to wait for the price to get to where you have put your limit order. So basically how the limit orders work is, when you say, for example, the price of Ubricoin today is $1, okay? So what will happen is, that is the market price. If you want to provide liquidity and you only have UBNs, you cannot provide liquidity when that Ubricoin is at the market price. So you have to set a higher price for you to provide liquidity at that price. So you say, when Ubricoin gets to $2, I would like to provide liquidity in this liquidity pool. So and then you put in your Ubricoins, and then you're going to wait until Ubricoins Ubricoin price get now to $2 so that you can be a liquidity provider in that pool. And if you provided that liquidity today, if the price has not gotten to your range, it means that you're not going to be earning those fees. So it's a good thing, because you can be a liquidity provider, but it does not earn you interest at that moment. It only earns you interest if the price gets to your price prediction, or whatever you have said the price will be. So basically, that is it. Those are the new features that have been introduced by Uniswap. There, we have covered 5 of them. We have covered concentrated liquidity, where you put price ranges. Then we have covered fee tiers, and then we have covered capital efficiency, limit orders, and also NFTs. So those are the major. We have other two, but I don't think that those affect us, because they are talking about oracles and governance, but that is something else that we will cover maybe later. But for the meantime, these are the features that I think are affecting us as liquidity providers. So you can go read more about this, because they have elaborated more on this in this document. It's a good document. It's easy to understand. So maybe now that I have gone through a few of the concepts, now it will even be easier for you. So make sure that you go to these introducing Uniswap v3. You go through those concepts so that you can see what they mean, and you can understand if it is a good decision for you to move from V2 to V3. But I know that when they were doing V3, they had good intention, or they wanted to make the platform even better. So there are more advantages in migrating to V3, but you need to do this after you go through this document and understand these concepts. So thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to moving to V3 and migrating to V3 when the time is right. But for the meantime, I would say we continue learning, and we also remember to go into Uniswap and buy Ubricoins, because that is the key. The key to making sure that Ubricoin price continue going up, and also the key to making sure that our liquidity pools are functional is to go into Uniswap and buy some coins there, because if we do not get action in these markets, then we are not doing anything. So tell your friends. If your friends are interested in buying Ubricoins, make sure that you direct them to Uniswap so that they can buy themselves some coins. So thank you so much.